I'm not a man because I'm 53. I'm a man because I walk as a man. And I don't compromise as a man. I don't deviate from being a man. I walk a narrow path. And if there are distractions or temptations to the left or the right of me, which may bring me to being a male or a boy, I make sure I keep that focus on being a man. So when we talk about that, there's a book that I want to share with you. Written a long time ago, 1933, so it's got a title that's a little different. It's called The Miseducation of the Negro. The word Negro used because of when it was written in 1933. And it was written by a man, a scholar, an author, an educator by the name of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who was the founder of this month, Black History Month. But he wrote this book, one out of 16 books, and I want to share this paragraph with you. He said, when you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him not to stand here or over yonder. He will find his quote-unquote proper place, and he will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he'll cut one out for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary. He's saying, young men, way back in 1933, that as long as your mind is being controlled by outside and external forces, nobody has to worry about you. You pose no threat. You pose no challenge to anybody. You are self-contained. You are self-enslaved because you don't think for yourself, is what he's saying. But he's saying that when you become analytical in your thinking, when you become critical in your thinking, when you begin to dig deep in your thinking, and you have a critical analysis of the world, then at that point, you pose a threat. Can't nobody stop you. Can't nobody stand in the way of you. Can't nobody keep you from soaring. Can't nobody keep you from achieving whatever it is in life that you want to achieve because you are able to think. So one of the best things you can do as becoming a man is to think, and think. So one could say the conference is called Man Up, but I can add an addendum to that to say, wake up, young men. See, you gotta be wide awake, and you can't be sleeping. And when I say sleeping, I don't mean in the evening when you go to sleep, but you can't be sleeping on your feet. You got to be wide awake at all times. So with that, as you begin to think, one of the traits, characteristics of being a man then, is to know oneself. I say to folks all the time, one of the biggest questions that we can learn to answer is the answer to the question, who am I? So many of us, we can't answer that question. We know our name, we know the name on the birth certificate, but who are you? Who are you in history? What have you accomplished? What have you done? And how has the world benefited from you? See, science, technology, mathematics, engineering, architecture, medicine, it all runs through your veins. Every one of you in this room, if you're sitting in a classroom at some point and science is an issue for you, science is a problem, mathematics is a problem, I would say, how dare you say that that's a problem? Because that math, that science runs through your veins. See, everybody in this room, you were born brilliant. You were born that way. It's not something that comes upon you later. You were born brilliant. You were born most highly capable. You were born with the capability to do anything that you want to do. You were born with that. But also, when we look at us, you gotta love you when we talk about being a man. A man loves himself, appreciates himself. He looks at himself in the mirror and he's happy about who he sees. He's proud of who's in that body. He don't look at the next man and say, I wish I was him. He don't look at the next man's accomplishments and say, I wish that was me. He looks at himself and he says, I'm pleased with who I am. I appreciate who I am. I'm proud of who I am. And I'm going to develop who I am into the best who I am I can be. But he's not going to envy somebody else because he's got that love, he's got that appreciation for himself.